Hello and welcome to Fiction Fans, a podcast where we read books and other words too. I'm Lily.
And I'm Sarah, and today we'll be discussing Chai and Charmcraft by Lynn Strong.
But first, our quick 5-minute introduction, starting with something great that happened recently.
Someone reached out to me on Instagram to say how much they had enjoyed participating as a reviewer in some of the Escapist book tours, and how sad they were that Escapist was no longer around. And It was a really sweet message, and it definitely made my day.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was So it was great.
Yeah, what a beautiful human connection.
Yeah. And it was a long message too, like long and thoughtful. It wasn't just, "Hey, I liked your tours. Thanks, bye."
Wow. Well, I didn't know we were getting serious this week. Mine was I found a tasty hot sauce.
So good.
Yeah. The cute local, it's not a grocery store, green grocer, whatever you would call it. Shout out Dwayne's Garden Patch. Started carrying some local hot sauces, so of course we had to try them.
Obviously.
And one of them was habanero garlic, I think. It's not too hot, but when you pour it out of the bottle, it is it's garlic. It is macerated garlic. It is not slightly garlic tinted Tabasco or something.
That sounds amazing.
It's delicious.
I want to try some next time I visit you.
Absolutely. I think it might become a staple in the house because holy shit.
Sounds like it deserves to.
Yeah. Groceries. That's what I get excited about.
Signs you're an adult.
I know. What are you drinking today?
There's only one answer. One possible answer to this, and it's chai.
Yes. I suspect you actually made yours out of tea leaves, though.
I did make mine out of tea leaves, yes.
I am drinking an oat milk chai latte made with the Oregon chai, concentrate in a box.
Still counts.
I mean, I like it.
I suspect that the chai that's drunk in this book is better than what either of us are drinking, but...
Well, Asheron, one of the main characters, makes his own, spice mix for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to try that. But not today. Today I'm drinking it out of a box. It's good, though. Very sweet, but I like that, so it's okay. Have you read anything not podcast related recently?
I think for the first time this year, I have an answer to that question. Maybe it's not the first time this year, but I have spent much of this year not having an answer. And yes, I started reading Grumpy Pucking Orc by Deborah somebody, which is a book that was recommended to us by Tony from Romance Read Along. And the premise is that orcs have come to Earth to pillage and grab women to marry, but they're not allowed to pillage. They have to get actual jobs. So they get a job as a hockey team, and one of them falls in love with a reconstructive dentist. And the premise, much funnier than the actual book, I'm afraid.
It sounds like it's setting itself up to be silly and lighthearted, but from what you've been saying, it takes itself a little bit more seriously than that, which is too bad.
Yeah, I was really hoping that it was something that was going to be very silly. Have a good romance story, sure, but be very silly and not take itself seriously. But unfortunately, it is taking the premise kind of seriously and not in a way that works for me necessarily. Yeah. Also, the orcs and the narration, it's first person, but anytime there is mention of orc dick, it's called their hand axe. And I just can't. The first time, okay, fine. But every time, I can't do it.
See, if the overall tone of the book was silly, then I feel like that would be fine.
Yes. Yes.
But, yeah, when you're going that poetic with euphemisms for genitals.
Yeah. It's also insta-love, fated mate insta-love, which is not my thing.
Soulmates are always a hard sell for me too. Yeah.
So I don't mind soulmates. I don't mind fated mates or soulmates or whatever. It's just the insta love aspect of it. Like
Interesting.
if they struggle with it, that's fine. But if they are instantly head over heels for each other, then I'm like, but like the whole point is seeing them get together.
Yeah.
And there's no struggle here.
It's interesting you say that the whole point is watching them get together. I'm jumping like 4 bullet points down into our list because it's relevant. But Chai and Charmcraft is a love story. It's not a capital R romance because our 2 love interests hook up at the very beginning. And then the book is kind of dealing with the aftermath and implications of that.
Yes.
Which I personally love. That is a story angle that I think is so interesting. Like watching 2 people trying to like figure it out together.
Well, okay, so and I will contrast this with Grumpy Pucking Orc because yes, they sleep together immediately, and yes, they are kind of in love immediately, but there is still struggle there. It's not they do have to overcome obstacles, and they aren't actually together.
That's true. They hook up at the beginning, but they're not like boyfriends from page 1.
Yeah. So I do think that it's different.
Oh, absolutely. That was such a relevant comment to make about like the structure of love stories, right?
Yeah. But Chai and Charmcraft, yes, is a delightful book. We have actually read work by this author, Lynn Strong, before, Chai and Cattails, which was a collection of short stories.
I only remembered the nonverbal kitten, Priya. That was we read it like a year ago, I think.
We read it a while ago. And also we read so many books that it is hard to keep details straight.
There were definitely moments in this book where I thought, is it a little deja vu? Does this seem familiar?
Well, and like we meet a lot of the same characters in Chai and Cattails. Like we see Faraj, who is the prince, one of the main characters in this novel. We see him meet his archivist, who is also mentioned in this book for the first time in Chai and Cattails. We even see Asheron, who is the other main character, and we see some of the secondary characters too. So there's a lot that is familiar about the world and the setting and the characters.
Yeah, I think I mostly went into this novel having a good sense of setting. Which, considering how fun the setting is, I don't think you need that background at all. This book obviously explains everything and sets it up for you. But knowing what to expect, I think I was just already 100% on board before I even opened up page 1.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't need to have read Chai and Cattails to enjoy this book. Strong is a fantastic author and does a great job of introducing you to the characters, but it is fun to know the setting beforehand.
I think it just made me, like, it pre-hyped me for it, right?
Yes.
I knew the tone that I was going to be getting, and I sure did get it. This book was so cozy. And I know that's literally just what it says on the front. What does it say on the front? A magical Middle Eastern cozy fantasy. That's what it is.
Yes. No false advertising there.
Just so absolutely, I'm gonna, like, comfortable? I don't know. It's nice. And even when there is conflict, because there is conflict in this book, this isn't, like, so cozy that you glaze over and go, there's nothing happening. But it is just absolutely warm and comforting while you read it.
Yeah, I would say the conflict is all rooted in care.
Yeah.
Like, because the characters care about each other, but have different, they have their individual worries and concerns, that's where the conflict comes in for the most part. So it does still feel comforting.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to describe it. And there is, like, acknowledgement of danger. The main character, Faraj, is a prince, and people are worried about him getting kidnapped. So it's not like in this world nothing bad ever happens. We just know that that's not going to happen in this story because,
yes.
First of all, what is his name? Starts with a K.
Camille.
Yeah, first of all, Camille would never let that happen. He is the catfolk bodyguard of the prince and absolutely wonderful. And yeah.
He's great. Yeah. I like him a lot. This is the first book in a series, but I think it absolutely can be read as a standalone.
I was shocked when you put that in the notes. Maybe shocked is the wrong word. Because I did want more, but I did not feel like this left me hanging or concerned in any way. Like, it felt very well wrapped up. And just how I felt at the end of Chai and Cattails, where I was like, this world is fun. These stories are so warm and soft, just like a cat's belly. I need more of it.
The impression that I get from reading the description of the next book, which is not out yet, and is, I think Strong's website says tentatively fall of 2026, but big shrug because the world.
That's fair. Is this book out already? It says available for pre-order on her website.
Release date May 1st.
Oh, it just came.
So
no. It might be out.
It probably will be out by the time this episode comes out. But the next book, Katayef and Kittens, sounds like it is a continuation of like the story, but not a sequel. Does that make sense? Or a sequel but not a continuation? One of the two.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, because we've kind of gotten character growth over the arc of this book, and so he doesn't need the spotlight again, or is kind of how I would approach it.
I mean, I think that he and Asheron are the main characters in book 2.
Really?
Still, yeah.
Well, then I don't understand how it's not a continuation.
I mean,
it's about the same guys.
What I'm trying to say is, like, the story that we get in Chai and Charmcraft does feel self-contained. So it's not like a sequel where the events are immediately related to what happens in book 1. Like, there's no cliffhanger that needs to be resolved in book 2.
Yes, I agree with that. So the book starts with Asheron's, not his perspective, but the chapters kind of switch back and forth between who the focus is on. Because for all that this is a love story, Asheron and Faraj are separated for quite a bit of it. There's kind of some star-crossed lovers vibes.
A little bit, yeah.
In the most delightful way. But as the book progresses, I feel like Faraj definitely is the main character of this story.
I think he's the one who goes through the most character growth, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and for all that this is a love story, and what happens when Faraj and Asheron, I'm going to keep saying hook up, which feels too dismissive, but it's not wrong. Really, this story is about Faraj kind of being confronted by his privilege.
Yes. I think he realizes that he can do a lot of things because he is the younger brother of the God Emperor. He is this prophet prince, and he realizes that that it's not fair that his position allows him to do things that other people can't, when there's no reason that other people shouldn't be able to.
Okay, more ways in which this book was just the most delightful thing to read in the world. There was so much non-sexual physical affection.
Yes, it was really lovely to see just the physical affection between Najra, who's Faraj's archivist, and Faraj. Najra, who's Ace, which I love. Always love Ace representation. But they touch all the time, which is great. Normalize touching your friends in consensual, non-sexual ways.
Yes. But it's not just Ace characters who get to be non-sexual, right? On is his main advisor?
Chamberlain,
thank you. And, well, I have a whole lot to say about Irfan in the spoiler section.
We both do.
The only thing I will say up top is that he also gets to express physical affection for Faraj, and that's just really nice. Also, all of the cats. All of the cats. It shouldn't surprise anyone. Actually, there's not cats in the title of this book. There's a lot of cats in this book.
There's a cat on the cover.
There you go. And that is not just to get you drawn in.
Yeah,
Cats are indeed central.
There are a lot of cats in this book.
And so there's quite a bit of affection with the catfolk as well that basically never reads as sexual, which I wonder if Strong will ever get into. Are there romantic relationships between humans and catfolk?
I don't know.
It's not addressed at all. Anyway, this is a very cat-centric world. They live in Bastet, I think is the name of the city.
Tel-Bastet, yeah.
Tel-Bastet, thank you. Because Bastet is the goddess.
Yes.
Yes. This is a city all about cats. There are regular cats running around, although they can kind of communicate telepathically. There are spirit cat familiars also running around. And then there are catfolk who are, I'm going to say, kind of, if you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, like Tabaxi, that kind of classic werecat concept, but they can also shapeshift into regular cats.
At will.
At will, yes.
Yes.
And they are just, it's not the point of the book that let's talk about all of these cats. They're just there because that's the city. And you'll be reading and suddenly there will be a cat jumping up on a counter and knocking something off. And it's like, yeah, that is what life with cats is like.
It does feel like Strong knows her cats.
For real. That when I was reading this book, I would occasionally just stop and read some cat shenanigans sentences out loud to my husband, and he was delighted by how accurate it is.
There's another book set in this world, Haroun and the Study of Mischief, which has dogs, and I haven't read it yet, but I'm really intrigued to see if the dog behavior is as accurate as the cat behavior. Although, granted, pugs are not necessarily always like other dogs, so my judgment may be slightly off.
That's the thing, right? Domesticated dogs have a lot more, at least physical variety than domesticated cats. Although, yeah. I think the cats in this book would protest at being called domestic.
I think they probably would protest quite a lot and quite vocally.
But that's the physical type of cat. Like, no one's shapeshifting into a tiger. You know?
Right. Although Camille is described as being very lynx-like.
Yeah. But that's just like his general fluffy shape, right? He's got the pointy ears and...
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're...
He's still like a cat, though.
He is still a cat, yes.
He's not a big lynx, yeah. Size-wise.
Yes, I think size-wise he's still a cat. But maybe on the bigger side.
Yeah. Well, sure, there's some variety. But it's not the same as like a Chihuahua to a Doberman, you know?
Right.
There's also a hint of snake people. I wasn't sure if that was like a tiny glimpse into this wider world, or if it just happened to be that the snake god priestess has like picked up snake traits.
It was very intriguing. I don't know the answer to
that. All of that is to say that the world is very fun.
Yeah, it's well built out. And I still have questions because Strong is not detailing every aspect of the world that doesn't relate to the story, but it's very well built.
I have more comments about the world building and how perfect the balance was specifically for my tastes. But I think it's spoilery. At least the examples I want to give are definitely spoilers.
Yeah, we can save that for the spoiler section. Before we move on to the spoiler section, though, I do want to talk about one more non-spoilery thing that I really appreciated about this book, which was all of the body positivity, because there's a whole heck of a lot of it, and it's really wonderful.
And unlike the cats, it wasn't just taken for granted, right? Because I feel like there's some things that a book will go, we're just going to normalize this. And you're like, great, I love reading about a world where this is normal. Cats running around like people, awesome. But in this book, it was, I mean, the first example, Asheron going, I am going to show this man how much I love him. Or not love, because it's not insta-love. How into him I am.
Yes.
Because he's clearly very insecure about his body. And so it's just, I want to say aggressive, but I feel like that gives the wrong tone.
Yeah, I mean, it's
purposeful.
very purposeful. I think that's a good word for it. And I also really appreciated strong the narration makes a comment, or maybe one of the characters does, I can't remember, about how silly it is that Farage's brothers are never shamed for having lots of affairs and lots of children, whereas he's constantly being shamed by his advisors for eating sweets, and how ridiculous like that difference in treatment is.
Yeah. It's not this world is just accepting of all shapes. It's we're going to make a point of making this guy feel better about himself, which is because people don't make him feel good about himself on a regular day.
Yeah, and it's not just Faraj, like the priests of Aja.
That sounds right.
I can't remember if Upaja or Upala, but I think it's Upaja.
I think it's
which is, so they are dedicated to feeding everyone, and they are also bigger. They're described as round often in the text, and Asheron also wants to make sure that they feel good about themselves too, and that the comments that they get from the people around them are appreciative of them rather than dismissive of their size.
Which is, again, a ridiculous double standard, right? Because they're all about making sure people are well fed, and they get looked down on for that because they're not like the high-wheeling political. There's different, I can say, religious factions. There's a lot of different gods being worshipped.
Yeah.
And the priests of Upaja really are near the bottom of the pecking order because it's such a domestic and
feeding
non-threatening
people,
thing to do.
Yeah, feeding people is plebeian.
Yeah. But as Asheron, I don't think he points it out in as so many words, but it's really important.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of that appreciation for the domestic.
Yes.
All over this book. There's so much, like, we talked about physical affection, but there's also affection through making sure people are well fed on the institutional level, but also at a personal level. A lot of food, which there are some recipes for in the back of the book. Which Strong also did in Chai and Cattails, which I really appreciated.
Me too.
I still haven't had the chance to try any of them, though.
I know. I really need to get on that. I'm pretty sure that there was a recipe in Chai and Cattails for chai as well.
I think it was, Asheron's mix, right?
Yeah.
If we were real podcasters, we would have made his recipe for this.
It's true. Instead, we're just fake podcasters drinking our own chai.
But, I don't think Asheron would hold it against us.
I don't think so.
He's too much of an understanding babe.
He really is.
That is the perfect way to describe him.
Yes. He is the epitome of understanding babe.
Well, before we get into our spoiler conversation, who should read this book?
You should read this book if, well, A, you like cats, B, you like coziness, C, you want a fantasy that's not just your standard, like, European medieval fantasy or pseudo fantasy, but also if you want something that is going to make you feel good as you read it, then you should read this book.
This book is the epitome of the warm and fuzzies from every angle. The romantic relationship, the cats, literal warm and fuzzies, the food, the tenderness, just everything about it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed reading this book so much.
It's fantastic. This episode of Fiction Fans is brought to you by Solsticia.
That's our zine. Each issue has a different theme that celebrates genre and genre blending in a new way.
PDF and EPUB versions can be purchased on our website, and Patreon supporters of all levels get free digital copies.
You can find all of the issues and more at patreon.com/fictionfanspod. Thank you for your support.
The remainder of this episode contains spoilers.
So we talked a lot about the main characters up front, which I think it's fair to say Faraj and Asheron are the main characters. There are our lover boys.
Yes.
But there are so many wonderful secondary characters.
There are a lot of fantastic secondary characters. I was partial to Najra, who's the archivist, the ace archivist, partially because I really needed her presence in the story to balance out Irfan, the Chamberlain.
Oh, yes. Their approach to caring about Faraj, their different approaches, are so opposite each other that you really need both of them. She did get on my nerves a little bit when she was pushing back against Irfan, because she just had no tact at all. And I just wanted to go, you're smarter than this, though.
I mean, I get that. I kind of enjoyed that she had no tact because I think it was emblematic of her character. Like I thought it went with the character that had been established in Chai and Cattails in the short story and with what we knew of her. So it didn't bother me.
I mean, it wasn't out of character. It was just frustrating.
She would have had an easier time of things if she had a little bit more tact, yes.
Yeah. And I'm talking, like, she threatens to overthrow the entire government, which, I mean, taken in the context of a cozy love story, you're like, aw, that's just proof of how much she cares about Faraj. But, like, obviously that's gonna get Irfan's hackles up, dude.
Irfan's hackles were already up. Like,
yeah.
like, she didn't need to do anything there. She couldn't get his hackles more up.
She is not into de-escalation at all.
No,
she is an escalation person.
She is firmly an escalation person. I did also come to like Irfan by the end of the book, but for a lot of it, I just wanted to shake him because so we've talked a little bit about some of the conflict coming in this book coming from a place of care. And I think most of the conflict comes from Irfan, who cares deeply about Faraj. But when Faraj comes back with a cat familiar, he is very worried that Faraj has been ensorcelled and enchanted by a nefarious enchanter and is essentially like being mind controlled. And so he's like, we gotta get rid of this enchantment. We have to kill this cat. We have to do everything we can to make sure that Faraj is safe again. And again, I get that it was coming from a place of care, but also it's a cat.
It's a cat, and like is pointed out, it's very condescending to Faraj. Like,
yeah.
Irfan was definitely the antagonist, which I think is a very interesting position. Like, this book is about Faraj trying to kind of stand up for himself for the very first time. And fascinating that I felt so bad for a prince of a country. But clearly he has always lived within, like, expectations for him. No one ever puts it in those terms for Irfan, which is interesting. It's like, let the guy have one thing.
Yeah.
The guy being Faraj. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, to have the antagonist be someone who genuinely wants the best for your main character and truly want to take care of him, just be like too narrow.
Too rigid in his thinking.
Yeah.
It was a great choice for this book.
It worked so well. It definitely took time for him to grow on me. Because he's introduced by going, let's kill this cat. Which is, I mean, the fact that Strong managed to bring me back around on that character is pretty incredible.
It's pretty impressive, yeah.
But you do see how much he genuinely cares about Faraj, and he's just going about it, not in the wrong way, but in a way I certainly disagree with.
Yes.
Najra disagree with.
Yes. We also have some other side characters, like the aunties, who I did think were fun, not always in a good way.
They also bothered me quite a bit at the beginning. They're like the gossipy, manipulative, nosy, like, neighborhood aunties is literally it's what they are. They're the aunties. Not actually a familial relation to anyone in this book is what I'm saying, though. Like,
yes.
They're nosy neighbors is what they are. And I find nosiness and meddling very grating in general, which might have gotten my hackles raised extra for them. But they also redeem themselves when Faraj disguises himself to walk amongst the people and ask them their opinion on cats being allowed into the palace. And the aunties were like, oh, we'll start a revolution to save this one cat.
Yeah, we will be ride or die for this one cat. We don't, the God Emperor's brother, he's okay. We like him well enough, but his cat now.
Yeah. Well, they didn't even know it was the God Emperor's brother who had the cat. They thought it was just some random accountant at the time.
No, because they think that he is a random accountant, but when he talks about heresy, I think he does mention that it's the God Emperor's brother who has the cat.
Did he? I thought it was himself. Because I have a comment that I was like, well, it's going to be really obvious when it's the God Emperor's brother who shows up with the cat that that's who was the one doing this. Maybe I just totally missed that.
Because they start talking about Faraj and how they don't want stuff. I don't know if I can find the section in the book.
Okay. Oh, so this is Acheron's mental monologue during this scene. I can't look guilty. I can't admit anything. None of them should think I feel responsible for Sammy the accountant's heresy accusations.
Yeah, but what chapter was that?
13.
13. I
think he says that the prince was going to help him, like was going to change things. But it's definitely, they think it's Sammy who is Faraj's persona in this scene so that he can talk to the common folk. Where is your little goddess now, Sami?
Yeah, okay, you were right about that. But there was something...
Well, because he shares that the prince was going to basically create like a new system for tax breaks.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
And they're like, that's nice. Cats are more important.
Okay, now I'm just rereading the chapter. Not helpful.
We both just get sucked back into the book. And I just said that Najra saying that she would overthrow the government to protect a cat on behalf of Faraj bothered me. But that's because she knows Irfan. And so that conversation between the two of them, I feel like she ought to have known better. Whereas the aunties saying it, it's...
I mean, that's also just kind of like, just talk, right?
Yeah. Nadra actually had steps in place.
Yeah,
which is great and cool. But don't phrase it that way. Come on.
Nadra had a plan.
Yeah. Acheron was such an interesting character. So he owns a bathhouse. He is also a sex worker sometimes. That's not the only thing he does. He just takes care of people, right?
Yeah.
And be that massage therapy or hygiene or... I wanted to come up with a fun euphemism, but it was too much work. Banging. For all of his worldliness, though, he is kind of strangely naive when it comes to the auntie's, gossip and meddling. He's shocked that his marriage and the inheritance of the bathhouse is even a topic of conversation. And that just seemed, I don't know, it seemed surprising for his position in society.
I mean, he definitely is naive about a lot of things. I think he lives very much in the moment. For example, he doesn't think about the consequences of giving Faraj a cat familiar, which is something that he probably should have thought about before he gave Faraj a cat familiar.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing to live in the moment, but he definitely could stand to think things through a little bit more.
Well, and that's, I don't know, that doesn't bother me as much, or that didn't stick out to me as much, I should say. But his whole thing is that he is very emotionally intelligent and can tell what kind of affection people need. So he's good at reading people. That's a very important part of his character and his job. But I guess it kind of felt like, who, little old me, when it was turned on him. Because he loves, he is part of the gossip community. He participates. He knows what people say about each other. But then when it's people gossiping about him, he's so, bashful. It felt weird.
I can see that. I didn't necessarily feel the same way, but...
It wasn't a big problem. It just stuck out to me as,
Yeah.
I would not have thought that this character would be so surprised by this.
I don't think that he thought about things like inheritance, because that's in the future. That's not a problem for current day Acheron.
That, yes. But the aunties gossiping about it, like, that shouldn't surprise him. Okay, we talked a little bit about Farage's cat familiar, who Acheron helps him summon and kicks off basically all of the conflict of this book. Because, like, there was some star-crossed lovers. It's a prince and a sex worker, which is, like, such a classic dynamic for a star-crossed love story. But the real conflict, I mean, that is a complicating factor, but more of the conflict is around his cat being allowed into the palace where cats are not allowed. And Sahar is a spirit. She's a little cat who was summoned. But she's pregnant, and at some point, quite near the end of this book, has kittens. Are those kittens also spirits that have been summoned, or are they regular physical cats? It is never explained, and I need to know.
Don't they talk about it a little bit in the book when she first gets summoned?
Maybe? But, like, the summoned cat can be resummoned, right? That's an important plot point. I mean, they still experience death if they're harmed, but they come back. They can just get resummoned. It was not clear if her kittens were the same way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, that is the world building that I was like, I so rarely am like, I need more world building. Because everything else in this novel was the absolute perfect level for me. You learn things about how catfolk work, about how magic works, but there's never like, ah, yes, and Acheron is a fire mage because he has an affinity for fire magic. That is why he is good at making tea and also could do a fireball. Like, it was so much more subtle than that.
It's not in your face.
No, it's not distracting at all, which I appreciated, because this is about, like, people's relationships, right? It's
and
just
cats.
the set and cats. Cats are people. They were included in that. So I loved the world, and I loved the way we accessed information about it, because and that's just who I am as a reader. Give me the characters first and let me learn about the world through them, because so rarely do we as people sit here and go, ah, yes, and the traffic light is changing colors at the time it does because of urban planning committees, you know? And so whenever that shows up in a fantasy novel, it just bothers me. I'm just not a world building person. I mean, I don't hate world building. I need it to be more subtle.
You don't want it to hit you on the face.
No.
Whereas I don't mind being smacked in the face with world building. But I also very appreciate a story like this where it is subtle, but you get a lot of it.
You get so much of it. Yeah, that's why I want to, like, clarify. It's not that I don't like world building. It's just so much more enjoyable to me when it's this way of doing it.
Whereas I think my problem is that when it's subtle like this, you usually don't get enough of it for my taste.
Fair enough.
But with this, we got a ton of it. I was very happy.
Yes.
It's the best of all possible worlds.
So, I never answered what I've been reading lately. I'm 8 months pregnant. I have been reading books about childbirth and labor. Surprisingly relevant to this novel.
There was a lot more pregnancy in it than I was expecting.
I was taken entirely by surprise. So, Sahar the cat is pregnant, has kittens. And then there are 2 sex priests, because there's a bunch of different gods and they're having a big god convention or whatever. I guess priest convention. But there's I don't remember which the gods are, but it basically boils down to male sexuality and female sexuality, I would say. Those 2 gods, something like that.
Something like that.
And the priests of each of those orders, Anuket and Neferkamen, are at a dinner party. They both seem to be on quite good terms with Faraj, even though they're always hitting on him and he's always has to bat down their advances. It seemed more like friendly ribbing than actual pestering.
Yes, I think it was friendly. I didn't necessarily get the impression that they would stop if he told them to stop.
He has clearly told them to stop.
Yeah. But on the other hand, Neferkamen does see how stressed he is that evening and is like, okay, I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna make any advances on you so that you're not stressed out.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's friendly.
And because we can see into Farage's head, we know that he doesn't necessarily mind the advances. He just would never take them up on it.
Yeah.
And actually, I think at one point comments that it makes it he feels like they are actually interested in him and they're not just putting on a show, and he appreciates that sincerity.
Yeah.
Anyway, fun characters, very fun dinner party scene. And then we find out that Anuket is also heavily pregnant and is starting her labor during the dinner party.
And refuses to go see a doctor because she wants to be at the dinner party.
Well, as I've learned, because I know so much about this now, that's actually quite normal. They say, like, don't even bother calling your doctor for like 6 to 8 hours after labor starts. So she is actually doing things the modern way. I don't know what it was like in the medieval Middle East. I don't know what time period. This was quite long ago. It's fantasy. I don't need to know the time period.
It's fantasy. You don't need to know.
But it was so weird. Maybe not so weird. I've been bringing a different reading to on-page pregnancies as I am currently experiencing one myself. And so it was interesting having like these two different experiences on the page.
Yes.
Because we also, Sahar does give birth later on, and Faraj experiences it.
They have a link, which means that he, in some respects, feels what she feels. I think only when big things happen is kind of the impression I get, or when she like makes an effort to share what she's feeling. But I would say that giving birth to 6 kittens is a big thing.
Yeah. Basically what it boils down to is there's kind of mpreg being male pregnancy. Well, there's not male pregnancy, there's male childbirth.
Yeah. I mean, I would quibble with that phrasing a little bit because he's not pregnant. He just experiences some of like
he just experiences the physical sensations. I mean, that's close. of childbirth, though, not the whole pregnancy.
Yes. That's why I'm quibbling with calling it mpreg, but it was an interesting inclusion. Yeah,
and that's also where Irfan and Najra kind of get over themselves and each other because they're like, "Oh, we gotta support our friend through this very strange experience."
I mean, they both do genuinely really care for Faraj.
Yeah, and I mean, I had already warmed up to Irfan by then, but that kind of clinches it, right? That, like, whatever he might feel about the situation, he still wants to be there for Faraj and help him however he can.
Yeah. And he does eventually come around to Sahar.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is important to note.
Yes. All in all, every single character was wonderful. I'm trying to think. Oh, I guess the only characters that are purely villains are the priests of order.
Yes.
They're not on the page very much. They're almost comic relief.
Yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't necessarily call them purely villains. Antagonistic, definitely.
Okay, yeah. They're the only characters that we don't, like, see a redemption arc for.
Yeah. But we do get to see them count a lot of grain. Or a lot of wheat.
Their character arc is they get tormented by the priests of Upaja. Which was very fun. You gotta have someone you can pick on and not feel bad about it.
Yes.
But other than them, like, genuinely every single character is well-meaning and kind. It's just, like, such a nice world. It's cozy. It's cozy.
It's cozy. It's cozy in the best way.
Yeah. That genre, that description for a genre has had a moment, I think might have been overused for a while, but this feels like the exact thing that I want when I'm looking for just something that's, like, comforting, and there are stakes, but you're pretty confident that the good guys are gonna win.
I mean, reading this book feels like getting a warm hug.
Yeah.
And having a cat purring on your lap.
Oh, there were definitely times while I was reading this book that I had both of my cats, like, on either side of me, and it was just the most wonderful experience.
That is the right way to read this book.
It is. Oh, and a warm cup of chai.
Yes.
Like, all of those things put together. It's just delightful.
Yeah.
Absolutely recommend it if you're having a bad day or not. You don't have to wait till you're having a bad day to read a book that's nice.
Yeah, if you just want a nice book.
But it's not toothless, I think is what I'm trying to say. It's nice and it's warm and it's cozy, but it's also doing something. I mean, it's dealing with inequity and privilege, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there is more to it than just, it's not a slice of life.
It's not surface level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not surface level.
I'm very excited to read more. I guess I should read the dog book. I am curious I guess I'm not going to be as good of a judge how the characterization of the dogs go.
Yeah, and I think there can be more variety or differences between dog breed like behaviors than there are between cat. Obviously, individual cats, like, they vary a lot, but I think as a whole, cats tend to be more consistent from breed to breed than dogs are from breed to breed.
Cats don't really have breeds.
Yeah.
It's cat.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. So I don't know, because my experience is all pugs, and I'm assuming that the dogs in Haroun and the Study of Mischief are not pugs. I could be wrong, but I
think that's a good guess.
I think it's probably a good guess. I might not necessarily be the best judge of how accurate the dog behavior is either, but
I wonder if that's why cat memes feel so much more popular than dog memes. Because any cat person is going to look at a cat meme and go, yeah, that's basically my cat. Whereas with dog people, there's more like
subgenres.
Yeah. And so it could be less relatable, right?
Yeah.
More infighting. Not exactly infighting, but
yeah.
A pug meme is not necessarily going to appeal to a husky owner, you know?
Yeah.
And I wonder if that accounts for just like the booming popularity of cat. I'm going to keep saying memes. That's not exactly what I mean, but I think it's the right easy catch-all word for it.
Yeah, it could. It could.
Yeah. Anyway, before we get onto that philosophical tangent, loved this book. Gotta find some sources for some of these ingredients, because I did flip through the recipes and I want to try them, but they're not ingredients that I'm familiar with, so it would have to be like, it would be a project.
Yeah.
I love that they're included, though, because there is so much food in these stories, meaning Chai and Charmcraft and also Chai and Cattails.
Yeah, I love the care that Strong puts into the appendix.
Yeah.
It's not an afterthought. Like, there's recipes, there's definitions, like, there's a lot of research that has clearly gone into these books, which is fantastic.
And I want to, like, interact with that, you know? It feels like, I mean, you don't have to enjoy the book, but to appreciate all of the work that went into it.
Yeah.
More than just reading it. You know, I'd like to actually do the thing.
Yeah.
Plus, who doesn't love a good cooking project, so.
Exactly. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Fiction Fans.
Come disagree with us. We're on Blue Sky and Instagram at FictionFansPod. You can also email us at fictionfanspod@gmail.com or leave a comment on YouTube.
If you enjoyed the episode, please rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and follow us wherever your podcasts live.
We also have a Patreon where you can support us and find exclusive episodes and a lot of other nonsense.
Thanks again for listening, and may your villains always be defeated. Bye!
Bye. It would have been kind of funny if we had said, may your best friends always be defeated.
It would have.